5 more maritime mysteries. 1. The America, 1861, the Confederate raider that made history. The America was originally designed as a racing yacht in 1851 and is best known for winning the first America's Cup, a prestigious sailing race that established it as one of the most famous yachts in maritime history. Measuring 102 feet in length with a beam of 23 feet, the America was a marvel of 19th-century engineering, featuring a sleek design that set new standards for speed and agility. The yacht was built by a syndicate of New York businessmen led by John Cox Stevens, who had a vision of proving American naval prowess on the global stage. After winning the inaugural race around the Isle of Wight, the America returned to the United States and became a symbol of the country's growing maritime dominance. However, its fate would take a dramatic turn when the Civil War erupted in 1861, plunging the nation into chaos and transforming this once glamorous yacht into a vessel of war. Role in the Civil War. With the onset of the Civil War, the America was acquired by the Confederate Navy and refitted as a blockade runner and a commerce raider. The South faced a significant disadvantage due to the Union's naval blockade, which choked off vital supplies and trade. The Confederacy sought fast, agile ships capable of evading Union blockades, and the America was perfectly suited for this task. Under the command of Lieutenant George E. Dixon, the America was renamed CSS America and assigned to harass Union merchant vessels and transport vital goods through the blockade. Despite its origins as a racing yacht, the America proved remarkably adept at this new role, using its speed and maneuverability to outpace larger and more heavily armed Union ships. In one of its most daring exploits, the America managed to slip past the Union blockade at Charleston, South Carolina, under the cover of darkness, transporting supplies and ammunition to Confederate forces. Its success as a blockade runner made it a valuable asset, and it quickly became a symbol of Southern resistance. The shift in allegiances. However, the fortunes of war are often fickle, and the America changed hands several times throughout the conflict. In 1862, it was captured by Union forces off the coast of Florida, ending its career as a Confederate raider. Now under Union control, the America was incorporated into the Union Navy and used for training purposes and as a patrol vessel. The America's story is a rare example of a vessel that served both sides of a conflict, reflecting the turbulent and ever-changing nature of the Civil War. After the war, it returned to its racing roots, continuing to compete in regattas until it was finally retired in the late 19th century. Today, the America's legacy lives on, not just as the namesake of the America's Cup, but as a vessel that weathered the storm of one of the most tumultuous periods in American history. 2. The Empire Windrush, the ship that changed Britain forever. The Empire Windrush was a British troopship built in Germany in 1930 under the name Monte Rosa. Originally intended as a cruise liner for German travelers, the ship was requisitioned by the Nazis during World War II and used to transport troops. Following the war, it was seized by the British as part of reparations and renamed the Empire Windrush. By the late 1940s, it had been repurposed for civilian use, carrying passengers between Europe and the Caribbean. In 1948, the Empire Windrush embarked on a voyage that would make it one of the most iconic ships in British history. With post-war Britain facing a labour shortage, the government encouraged immigration from the Commonwealth, and the Empire Windrush became the vessel that transported the first wave of Caribbean migrants to the United Kingdom. The Windrush Voyage. On May 24, 1948, the Empire Windrush set sail from Kingston, Jamaica, carrying 492 passengers, many of whom were former servicemen who had fought for Britain during World War II. They arrived at Tilbury Docks in Essex on June 22, 1948, marking the beginning of a new era in British society. The passengers, who came from a wide range of professions, including carpenters, nurses, and engineers, were drawn by the promise of employment opportunities and the chance to contribute to the rebuilding of a war-torn nation. However, upon their arrival, they faced unexpected challenges, including racism, discrimination, and difficulty finding housing and employment. Despite these obstacles, the Windrush generation made significant contributions to British culture, industry, and public services, leaving an indelible mark on the nation. Controversies and legacy. The legacy of the Empire Windrush took on a new dimension in 2018 when it emerged that hundreds of individuals who had arrived in Britain as children were being wrongfully detained, denied legal rights, and threatened with deportation. This scandal, known as the Windrush scandal, exposed systemic failures in immigration policy and led to a public outcry, sparking a national conversation about immigration, identity, and race in modern Britain. The Empire Windrush itself met an untimely end when it caught fire and sank in the Mediterranean in 1954. Despite its tragic demise, the ship remains a powerful symbol of the multicultural society that emerged in post-war Britain. 3. The City of Benares, the children's voyage that ended in tragedy. The City of Benares was a passenger liner launched in 1936 by the Ellerman Lines and was primarily used for voyages between Britain and India. It was an opulent vessel, featuring luxurious cabins and amenities that catered to wealthy travelers. However, when World War II broke out in 1939, the ship was repurposed to transport evacuee children from Britain to Canada as part of the government's Children's Overseas Reception Board (CORB) scheme. As German bombing raids intensified, many parents sought to send their children to the relative safety of Canada, and the City of Benares was tasked with ferrying 90 children across the Atlantic in September 1940. The sinking. On September 17, 1940, the City of Benares was sailing 600 miles off the coast of Ireland when it was torpedoed by the German submarine U-48. The attack occurred in the dead of night and took the crew and passengers by complete surprise. As the ship began to sink, panic ensued, and lifeboats were launched into the stormy, freezing waters. Despite the efforts of the Royal Navy escort ships, rescue operations were hampered by the harsh weather, and many of the passengers, including 77 of the 90 children on board, lost their lives. The tragedy shocked the British public and led to the immediate suspension of the CORB scheme, ending the government's plans to evacuate children overseas. The City of Benares disaster remains one of the most poignant and heartrending episodes of World War II, highlighting the vulnerability of civilian targets in the conflict. 4. The General Slocum, New York's forgotten maritime disaster. The General Slocum was a wooden side-wheel paddle steamer launched in 1891 and was primarily used for excursions around New York City. The vessel could carry over 1,300 passengers and was a popular choice for outings, particularly among the city's immigrant communities. On June 15, 1904, the General Slocum was chartered by St. Mark's Evangelical Lutheran Church for an annual picnic. Over 1,300 passengers, mostly women and children from the German immigrant community, boarded the vessel for what was supposed to be a day of celebration along the East River. The fire and sinking. Shortly after departing, a fire broke out in the forward cabin, likely caused by a discarded cigarette or match. The flames spread rapidly, fueled by flammable materials on board, and within minutes, the General Slocum was engulfed in a raging inferno. Many of the life jackets were rotten and useless, and the lifeboats were tied down and inaccessible. As the ship drifted towards North Brother Island, panicked passengers jumped overboard, only to be swept away by the strong currents or trapped by the ship's rotating paddles. By the time the General Slocum sank, over 1,000 people had perished, making it one of the deadliest maritime disasters in American history. The tragedy brought attention to lax safety regulations and led to significant reforms in maritime safety standards, but the General Slocum disaster faded from public memory, overshadowed by larger tragedies like the sinking of the Titanic. 5. The Redan, a tale of mystery in the Black Sea. The Redan was a British merchant ship operating in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. In 1909, it embarked on a routine voyage from Istanbul to Odessa, carrying a valuable cargo of grain. The Black Sea, known for its unpredictable weather and treacherous waters, was a vital artery for trade between Eastern Europe and the Mediterranean. The mysterious disappearance. On a stormy night in February 1909, the Redan was reported to have vanished without a trace, along with all 18 crew members on board. No distress signals were sent, and no debris or wreckage was ever found, despite an extensive search. This left maritime historians baffled and gave rise to endless speculation about the fate of the Redan. Some theorized that the ship may have struck a submerged mine, a remnant from past conflicts in the region, while others suggested it could have encountered an iceberg or another vessel in the dense fog that often blankets the Black Sea. One of the most persistent theories involved the possibility of piracy. During this period, piracy was still a threat in the Black Sea, with ships occasionally vanishing under mysterious circumstances. It's speculated that the Redan could have been attacked, boarded, and sunk by pirates, with the valuable grain cargo either stolen or lost to the sea. However, the lack of any signs of a struggle or wreckage weakened this theory. Another theory points to an internal explosion, possibly caused by improperly stored cargo or a malfunction in the engine room. Ships carrying grain were particularly susceptible to dust explosions, a phenomenon where fine particles of grain, when agitated, can ignite and cause a powerful blast. Yet, the absence of wreckage and survivors has prevented any concrete conclusion. To this day, the Redan remains one of the most puzzling maritime mysteries in the Black Sea, with the fate of its crew and the circumstances of its disappearance still shrouded in uncertainty. Conclusion. From luxury liners turned into warships to doomed voyages that took countless lives, these maritime tragedies remind us of the sea's unpredictable and unforgiving nature. Each vessel, whether it carried children seeking safety, immigrants chasing a new life, or ordinary cargo shipments, had its unique journey that ended in mystery or catastrophe. The stories of the America, Empire Windrush, City of Benares, General Slocum, and Redan continue to resonate as reminders of humanity's ceaseless quest to explore, conquer, and survive the vast and often treacherous waters that cover our planet. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into these haunting maritime mysteries. If you found these stories as fascinating as we do, please give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest content. Your support helps us continue to explore the world's most mysterious and compelling tales. Until next time, stay curious and keep the spirit of exploration alive.